Even the most optimistic among us would likely admit that the modern world is one where the middle class is vanishing and society is drowning in corruption and fraud. No one seems to know what to do next, but maybe it all could have been avoided if more people had ready access to one of the most important sci-fi movies ever made. A movie that tried to tell us where things were headed, and a movie whose message could still help us stop the slide into dystopia. If only people could see it. Unfortunately, the powers that be have made sure it's been buried, and it's not being watched. Spoiler alert,
Soylent Green is people!
But it could also save the world. Sorry for leading with the spoiler, but Soylent Green has never been about its big reveal. It's about everything that leads up to it. The movie is over 50 years old, and we all know it's made of people. That knowledge shouldn't deter anyone from hearing what Harry Harrison, screenwriter Stanley R. Greenberg, and Richard Fleischer were trying to say in 1973. Unfortunately, the title isn't easily available to watch, and that's a crime against humanity. Soylent Green is a movie that must be readily available to the masses. An eerily prophetic dystopian sci-fi thriller, Soylent Green's big third-act reveal shouldn't be what draws you in, because there's so much more to witness. While it's set in the year 2022, and real life has already marched past that point, the kernels of truth explored in Soylent Green still ring uncomfortably true today. I've downsized my physical media collection over the years, but this one I still keep at arm's length, because it's the cautionary tale of the ages. During the Soylent Green commentary, director Richard Fleischer states, "There's no middle class, and it's just suffering all the way through," when describing the world he created from the source material, Harry Harrison's novel, Make Room, Make Room. Here we have an overpopulated New York City with 40 million residents living in squalor, while the elite ruling class occupies fortified mansions with captive concubines they refer to as furniture.
Furniture?
Yes.
Simonson's? Personal or building?
Building.
The women involved in this arrangement are submissive, frightened, and treated as property. If someone moves out of a luxury apartment and someone else moves in, she is simply owned by the new tenant, no questions asked, just like the furniture. The lower class, which makes up roughly 99% of the population, survives on products manufactured by the Soylent Corporation, with Soylent Red and Soylent Yellow being the most common food sources available. A new product, Soylent Green, is introduced as a more nutritious option, supposedly derived from plankton. The green wafers, which are still a far cry from the natural foods that no longer exist unless you're filthy rich, cause riots due to its scarcity, and this is how most people are forced to live. When NYPD Detective Robert Thorne, played by the great Charlton Heston, is tasked with investigating the murder of William R. Simonson, a member of the Soylent Corporation's board of directors, he's introduced to the victim's concubine, Cheryl, played by Lee Taylor Young. Terrified of how her new owner might treat her, she submits to Thorne, who often mulls over his cases in his rundown apartment alongside his elderly roommate Solomon Roth, played by Edward G. Robinson. While Thorne is, by most measures, a good detective, he takes kickbacks whenever the opportunity presents itself. His nightly investigations frequently involve raiding the elite's cupboards for food, drink, and soap, which he brings home to share with Roth. Roth remembers the before times, when overpopulation, scarcity, and unchecked corporate greed didn't rule the landscape. He insists that people have always been awful, but the world itself used to be a beautiful place before it got to this point of no return.
Oh, nuts. People were always rotten. The world was beautiful.
Thorne has reason to believe Simonson was murdered because he was sitting on a dark secret about the Soylent Corporation and needed to be silenced. His guilt, Thorne suspects, would have eventually driven him to tell the truth, which brings us right back to that spoiler from the opening of this video.
Soylent Green is people!
What's most unsettling about Soylent Green is the disparity between the grievances of the ruling class and the working class. Thorne hears bellhops complain about how the manufacturer for some luxury item no longer exists.
The scanners and alarms went out of order last, Thursday.
Come on, let's have a look.
Yes, it was, Thursday. Problems, parts. The original manufacturer's out of business, of course, and our men have to fabricate replacements.
Or how it takes too long for these indulgences to be repaired. Meanwhile, Thorne and Roth generate their own electricity at home by pedaling a stationary bike. Thorne doesn't even know how to eat an apple. until he smuggles one home and watches Roth weep over the beautiful piece of fruit, now so rare that it's considered a precious commodity. Soylent Green is a brutal indictment of everything that goes wrong in a corrupt society when the powers that be are left completely unchecked. Its message is never delivered through preachy monologues, but by showing the audience just how bleak such a future could be. This world is communicated through its smog-choked aesthetic, endless food lines, and an expectation of permanent scarcity, while the ruling class hoards resources and strips women of their right to exist as autonomous human beings. Soylent Green as people is a cliche phrase now, but it's one of the most important pop culture phrases ever uttered, and most people have no idea why they're saying it. It's a warning about the possibility of a terrible future, one we should avoid at all costs. When released in 1973, Soylent Green was a solid commercial success for its time, grossing roughly $36 million worldwide against a modest budget of about $2 million. An impressive return that comfortably put it in the black. Critics were mixed on release, with some dismissing it as pulpy or heavy-handed, but audiences responded strongly to its bleak future vision and moral shock value. Over time, reception has improved significantly. The film is now widely regarded as a sci-fi classic, praised for its dystopian atmosphere, social commentary, and one of the most famous twists in genre history. But 1973 was a long time ago, and for younger people, they've heard the signature spoiler phrase and probably don't know what it really means. They could stream it, but unfortunately, the title isn't available on any subscription streaming services, only through expensive and hard-to-find on-demand purchases, which is an absolute shame. This is the kind of film that should be readily available to everyone, not tucked behind a paywall like an ancient curiosity. It's particularly a deterrent to the movie being viewed by the working class, who are, perhaps not so accidentally, also the people who need to see Soylent Green the most. Instead of being able to fire it up on one of the dozens of streaming services we're already subscribed to, Soylent Green is locked behind a fee on lesser services. I know a paywall isn't an ironclad way to keep people from sharing information, but for most viewers, it's enough of a hurdle to default back to reruns of The Office instead.
That's what she said!
Michael, please.
Everyone has heard of Soylent Green, but almost no one under 40 has ever seen it. And they're the people who need to see it most. Help us change that by sharing this video and letting people know just how important Soylent Green is. Because we're stubborn individualists, we refuse to let AI do any of the work for us, which means humans writing and producing videos like this one take way more time and expense than the average slop. That makes you, our viewer, more important than ever, because none of it happens without your support. Consider joining this channel as a member. Every free-thinking person who joins helps us go just a little bit farther. Until next time, I'm Josh, and this has been Giant Freakin' Robot.